We are back for a Tuesday slate, MLB DFS, betting props, all that kind of good stuff. Make sure you check us out at windailysports.com. We got you covered on everything DFS, projection models, cheat sheets, lineup optimize, our expert chat. We throw in props, we throw in pitching breakdowns. We give out free articles every single day a week in the MLB. So I myself hop in Discord, try to help build some lineups. Adam, Jared, our guy Dave here are putting out articles pretty much every single day on windailysports.com. So subscribe to the channel, and also check us out at windailysports.com. If you ever have any questions on Twitter, hit us up at windailysports. Dave, big slate. We go from a small slate mixed with a lot of rain, a lot of chaos on Monday, and now we go to a big slate with a lot of aces on the mound. And I'm going to come right out and say it. A lot of these aces are a little bit suspect, and I'll start at the top. Justin Verlander. His name recognition is going to hold weight, but his performance as of late hasn't been so Justin Verlander-esque. He's been good, not great. Had a tough start against Seattle, a not so great start against Oakland, weak offense. But he's still averaging, 22.5 points on DraftKings, 2.23 ERA, 61 Ks. Am I overreacting to Verlander, or is Verlander a lock for you on DraftKings?
No, he's not a lock. He's a pass for me. That's just too high of a salary at his current rate. We're seeing a little bit of regression, an older pitcher too. I'm not sure how much we can, necessarily trust. He might be going through a little speed bump here, and I think I'm going to wait a little bit. You mentioned the start against Seattle, which concerns me, but more importantly, Seattle's just been hitting the ball. Since moving Rodriguez up into the 3 spot, they're the best team against the fastball in the MLB. A little worse on the road, and they are in Houston, but they're still, they had another good night last night. They hit up Javier. I think I'm going to pass on this one. I think we got better value down below Verlander. It's just a little much for me for a guy that really hasn't put up a solid game in 3-4 starts.
So I agree with you on the fade of Verlander. He can still get there, but Seattle can hit, like you said. They got to Javier. Now, let's talk about Rodon, because him, not in much a different spot than Verlander. For some reason, I think he's in a better spot going against Colorado at home, Pitchers Park here. Does he have enough to bounce back? Because he's got 4 starts in a row that actually look worse than Verlander. Against Cincinnati, he got touched up. St. Louis touched him real bad. San Diego, he pitched okay. Philly, okay. But that upside that we wanted, that we got early in the year, we haven't seen that in 4 games. Is something wrong with Rodon here?
It almost feels it. His May ERA was 5.67. He had 6 starts in the month of May. Only 1 was above 17 DK points. So if you're looking at a plus 10K guy, you're barely getting 1.5 value back on most of his starts. The one that was a good one in May was against Colorado. So that's something that we have to factor in here. He had 12 Ks against Colorado. So if we can get the Rodon back to where he needs to be, pitching at home again obviously helps out too. He's been a better pitcher there. I do think there's value, but again, I think I'll take a step back and probably target some couple pitches lower than Rodon. I just 5.67 ERA, 5 bad starts in May out of 6. I'm not sure I'm ready to plug it, but I can see how you can get there. I can, especially with his performance against Colorado recently.
Yeah, look, this is a bounce back spot for him. You can get some shares. He's a minus 180 favorite to win the game here, but I'm definitely not going all in on Rodon like I was earlier this year. I do think something's wrong, but this Colorado lineup does not scare me, so I might get some shares. But these next 3 guys are interesting. I'm not a Kyle Wright guy, but he's 10-1. Nice matchup against Oakland. Manoah's been pretty much the most consistent of the bunch, from start to where he's at in the season right now. He's going against KC. And then you got Skubal with the best matchup on the board. I know Pittsburgh's been winning some games. They beat up on the Dodgers this past weekend. Thoughts on these 3 guys? I think there's some good plays here. They're right around the same price tag. You're not really getting much of a discount on Skubal, Kyle Wright, and Manoah, but are they ahead of Verlander and Rodon for you on Tuesday slate?
They actually are. I do think there's a lot of value, and it's based upon matchups a little bit too, as you spoke. My favorite one of all those 3 is Skubal. I just have loved him all year. He's been high value, but look at Pittsburgh. I know they've been playing a little better lately. They've been creeping up even near the 500 mark, but look at them in the last 2 weeks. They're number 2 in K rate against lefties, striking out 28.3% of the time. Skubal has a high K rate. They're 29th in batting average, 202 against lefties in that span too. So I think we have a situation where a lot of the Pirates' positive outcomes have come against righties lately. Got a good lefty going against them. I like Skubal the best out of those three, but I do really like Manoah as well. Kansas City's been funny, right? They've actually kind of woken up a little bit, hit here and there. But when you still look at some of their stats, they're still in the middle of the pack to bottom third in the league and most of the offensive value. So I would attack Manoah second out of those three. Kyle Wright, I'm with you. He doesn't wow me, right? 5Ks, 5Ks, 6Ks. Early in the year, he was getting 11, 8, 9. He's just been piecing it together barely lately, getting through games. I'm not getting the strikeout totals. So I would go Manoah and Skubal as the two of those three.
Yeah, I want to see what his K prop is when it gets published on Tuesday. It's a nice matchup against Oakland. I do like the matchup here. But after you pass these three guys, it's a big slate. But there's not too many players here that I like, that have some upside, who have some value, who have a good matchup. The one guy that makes some sense, I don't know if you can guess who it is. Let's play the guess game. See if you can think about the guy that I like. For value, I'll give you a hint. He's under 8,500. Who do you think that guy is?
I got one that's under 8,500 as well. I'm not sure we're on the same side. I'm wearing the hat. I'm going to guess you're going to say Taijuan Walker.
I'm not going to say Taijuan Walker. It's not Ranger Suarez. I do think there's some upside with Suarez. If he can last more than 4 innings, he can get there with some Ks. Whenever he gets past 7 innings or 6 innings, you get a great spot for him. Milwaukee's not hitting, so I do like Suarez a bit. But the guy that I was going to get to is Quintana, man. This over-under in this game is 7. And kind of shocking, they're only plus 110 favorites. Underdogs here. So Quintana, at his price tag, 7,500. And there's some power bats that we want. The Yankees get a dream matchup. Quintana, if he goes 6 innings, I think you get 20. If he goes 5, you might get 15. At 7,500, he might be the safest landing spot. I feel crazy saying this in 2022 that Quintana is safe. 7,500, though. Outside of that, the only other guy that I'll mention that I'll have some interest in, and I probably will get, a little shitted on Twitter or whoever's watching this, is Keegan Thompson. Not for a lot. I'm just saying if you want to stack up some big bats. He goes 5 innings. He gets you 3 or 4 Ks, maybe 5 if you're lucky. Gets you 15 to 18. You can do worse than Keegan Thompson because outside of that, man, I don't want to play Flexen, versus Houston. I don't want to play Springs versus St. Louis. Don't want to play. I don't know much about Mitch White against the White Sox. I don't want to face anybody against the Yankees. And then after that, maybe you can sell me on Marquez versus San Fran. He's faced these guys a bunch of times here. The game's in San Fran. He's 5,300. Maybe you throw a dart and stack up your lineup and hope he gets you 10. But any other name that I haven't mentioned here that you think is in the spot, if you want to talk about Suarez, go ahead. But anybody else you might like on this value side of things?
Yeah, I do like Suarez. Listen, Milwaukee, you said they haven't been hitting. Well, you throw a lefty at them and it gets even worse. They're a 28.6 K rate in the past 2 weeks against lefties, number 1 in the MLB. They're batting 176 K, 176 against lefties. Yeah. So 29th in WOBA, 29th in slugging. They just can't hit from that side of the plate. They've struggled altogether. I get that, but it's even worse when you got a lefty. Suarez has been a guy getting the pitch count way up, doesn't get too far in the games, but he's had 1 or 2 earlier in the year, 1 against the Dodgers. So I do think there's value there. 8,500 is a little much, but I think he could be a sneaky under-owned guy. So I will like him. And you said it, but I'll tell you, I could buy myself into some shares of Springs. They're starting to stretch him out. And I know St. Louis is kind of dangerous, but look at the 4, in the last 4 starts, he's been able to go, I think, 5 2/3, 5, 6 innings. They've been against the Yankees, the Blue Jays, and the Orioles. So he's been able to, and the Rangers, sorry, it's 4 games. He's faced some tough teams. He's averaged 19 DK points. So he's getting a similar tough team at 6,300. We get another 19 outcome. I'm getting 3x value. I could see myself maybe sprinkling Springs in a little bit.
I like that call. It'll be a race to 12 for Keegan Thompson, Marquez, and some Springs right there. See who gets to 12 first. And I was looking at John Gray today on Monday. Just for a GPP flyer. If you want to take a shot on Gray, look, he has some K upside. He has to avoid guys like Ramirez, but if he does avoid him, he's had starts where obviously his last start got 12 Ks. There was a start he got 8 Ks. 4 or 5 Ks at 6,700. If he goes clean, 5 innings, 6 innings, his pitch count has been above 90 the last 3 games. So they're letting this guy, stretch out a bit. I can see Texas winning this game as well. And then if there's a double header here, you might get a watered down Cleveland lineup. So look at this lineup when Cleveland rolls out. If somehow, some way, there's no Jose Ramirez in the doubleheader and the game that Gray's pitching, I'll go ahead and take some shares there. See the lineup, 6,700, not the worst spot for Gray. I know it's risky, but on a big slate, I wouldn't take Gray out of my player pool. Now, looking at the stacks, the Yankees are going to be popular, man. They're facing somebody that should not be, going against the Yankees right now, man. The Yankees are lights out. You got Cole Sands, who he had 2 games pitched this year so far. 6 earned runs. I don't know much about them, but I just know the Yankees are really good, man. They're really good. They're 1 through 9 good. Thoughts? Do you know much about this dude Sands? Is a guy that has anything special, top prospect at all, or is he just coming in and just going to try to eat a couple innings here?
The latter. So he's a filler. He came in and pitched a doubleheader. I think the other day they sent him back down to the minors. They need another arm again because they think Sonny Gray went on the IL with a quick tweak. So he's just patchwork. He's not a guy that's a top prospect coming up. They're just trying to fill him in. So it's hitting season, and I'm with you. I think the Yankees are going to be a favorable stack. I also like, and I don't know if you're there too, the Chicago Cubs. They've been really pounding the ball lately. They faced Kyle Bradish, another gas can, over 6 ERA. Look, Ortega is 11 for his last 23, bent 478. You can go up and down. Chris Morel, since he went into the leadoff position, has really sparked that lineup. I could go anywhere with Morel, Happ. Schwindel has been hitting really good. And then you throw in Contreras, obviously, one of the best catchers in the game. So I like the Cubs as well as one of my sneaky stacks tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope somehow. I know it's not going to happen, but Steve Cohen's going to be spending some money, man. If we can steal Contreras, like the only thing the Mets don't have right now is a catcher. I don't know if Contreras is even available, but if that dude's available, man, I would love to grab him. That would be like the last piece that we really need, because these Yankees are darn good, man. They're really a good team, and their pitching is starting to outshine their hitting a little bit. So now I'm kind of worried. I don't want to see the Yankees in the Subway Series again. It didn't work out last time. And we got to see, man. I do think the Yankees in a great spot. Feel bad for the guys who were rooting for Matt Carpenter, and he just stunk so badly for the past 2 years, could not buy a hit. Then he goes to the Yankees. He becomes Matt Carpenter of 2005. He's just hitting home runs, hitting close to 300 now. It's what turned on, as soon as he turned on a Yankee, jersey and he put it on, it's he's now hitting again, which the Yankees didn't need more hitting. And they just got a guy who used to be a perennial all-star, on their squad now too. Astros in play. I think the Astros against Flexen. They're starting to hit again. Altuve hitting. We know about Alvarez, Tucker. These guys are going to be hitting. So I think Houston's in a spot. Sneaky spots, Toronto, again, they're going to be in a good spot. I like the Chicago call. I can see that working out. Sleep on Red Sox. I think Red Sox against Detmers. Detmers is not a guy that I'm really too worried about. Your Phillies, man. Any love for the Phillies? They're playing some inspired baseball. I don't know how long it's going to last for you guys, man, but they're playing inspired ball right now. So, they get a matchup on the road against Milwaukee. Alexander's pitched pretty well. Any love there? Any low-owned stacks that you think could go out there and shine on a big slate on Tuesday?
Yeah, I do. The Phillies, I'll play a little bit. They're hitting right-handers right now. Obviously, that's what they had over the weekend versus the Angels and had great success. So I would like a little bit of the Phillies lefties in a stack up in Milwaukee. Another one, I mean, I do like San Fran. I know you mentioned Marquez earlier, but he's lit up. He's 6.71 ERA, 11 homers. San Fran's tough, man. They just find anyone anywhere, and somehow the guy becomes a good hitter. And I mean, the same with pitching with them. You could intrigue me. It depends. I see Zela might pitch too. I can't tell which one is going today for Colorado. So either way, San Fran could be a sneaky stack that I could maybe buy some shares into. We'll see.
Yeah, I think Phillies. Nobody's going to play them if they keep this inspired ball. They have a tough line, man. They really do. So I think they can get to the young Alexander there. No go on the Dodgers against Kopech, and I think Kopech is going to try to do his thing. White Sox kind of sneaky, but they haven't been hitting. And look, the Mets, they got the Snell early. This team is playing really good baseball, man. They're fighting at bats. They're getting walks. They're hitting big. Just a really good hitting team. So on a big slate like this, you get some of these teams where they're going to be like 5% owned, 10% owned, because everybody's going to flock to the Yankees, and the Yankees can go out there and have a great game, or they could have a mediocre game and only put up 3 or 4 runs, or maybe just one guy hits a home run and they're putting together singles here and there. So don't go overboard on the Yankees. The Yankees are definitely in a prime spot. They're not at home. Minnesota's not as good of a hitting park as Yankee Stadium is, so just be careful there. But big slate, lock in with us. We'll definitely be putting some props in on our expert chat. We have 3 articles going up, like I said, every single day. We get the NBA playoffs coming back around on Wednesday, a big showdown lineup. A lot of good things going on. We have a new show coming out for UFC this week as well that should be airing either Tuesday or Wednesday. And don't forget the golf show. Guys have been on fire with this DraftCast. It's a fun show. Hang out with Sia and Joel and Spencer. They probably have a couple guests on, so that'll be on Tuesday night as well at 8 o'clock. Like, subscribe to the channel, hop in our expert chat, ask us questions at Win Daily Sports on Twitter, and we're here basically to turn your love of sports into profits. So we want to help you guys make some money. So lock in with us, and we'll be back tomorrow night.